Alright guys, I want to make one more video talking about the NBA 75th anniversary team. And it's going to be about a guy who has mentioned several times he's not happy with not being included on the list. That's Klay Thompson. Does Klay Thompson have a realistic argument here for not being on the top 75? Or this, I don't know if top 75 is the right way to phrase it, this 75th anniversary team. Does he have a legitimate argument? I don't think so. And if you're going based purely on talent, well, that's a little bit different. This list is clearly not based on talent because it includes players from different generations, different decades, guys who are not even necessarily all full-time basketball players. Now the guys who are obviously living in penthouses and mansions because they are full-time basketball players. So it includes a lot of different styles, a lot of different generations. So it's not easy to say, well, this is 75 most talented players of all time. It's clearly not. It's not the 75 most impactful players of all time. It's not that either. It's the players who are determined to be the 75 best or like most notable, a combination of two of those things together. Most impactful, all that kind of stuff. Historical. Mash that all together, you get the 75th anniversary team. To me, Klay Thompson is not one of those guys. He's just not. And it's not, no offense to Klay Thompson, he's going to be a Hall of Famer in my mind. I've already marked Klay Thompson down if he retired tomorrow as a Hall of Famer. I'm willing to do that. You know, I think what he's done for the game, what he's done in this Warriors team, I'll give him the Hall of Fame pass. I'm fine with that. But, I mean, you're talking about being on top list of the top 75 players of all time. That does not have, I think, Walt Bellamy's not on there. Dikembe Mutombo wasn't on there, I'm pretty sure. Dwight Howard's not on there. And you're making an argument for yourself as Klay Thompson. A guy who's never been the best player at his position. A guy who's been to the All-Star game, 5 times total? An All-NBA player twice. Let's see those All-NBA selections. All-NBA third team twice. And you were All-Defensive selection All-Defensive selection once. It was the all-defensive second team. Now, I get you played a crucial role on this, I guess, generation's golden team, I guess you would say. But you played with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, two guys who are on this 75th anniversary team. And keep in mind that they grandfathered in all players from the top 50 anniversary team from 25 years ago. So you basically have 25 slots on this new team to fill. You have 25 new years of basketball to fill it with, along with any players from the previous generation who didn't get on the past list. Guys, I could name maybe 10 or 12 players right now who are currently still active in the NBA that I would take on this list over Klay Thompson. And as a matter of fact, let's see how many guys who actually are active right now who already made the list. Let's see. 11 active players made it. Giannis, Carmelo, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, James Harden, LeBron, Kawhi, Lillard, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook. It doesn't include the current MVP, Nikola Jokic. It doesn't include former MVP Derrick Rose. So, there's some guys on there who's won the MVP awards who are not on this top 70 or the 75 anniversary team. I'm not arguing that any of those guys should be. This list doesn't include Kyrie Irving, which I'm not arguing he should be on here either. But Kyrie's not on here. There are other good players. Chris Bosh is not on here. I understand Chris Bosh gets a lot of flack sometimes, but he is a Hall of Famer. He deserves to be. Who else is not on this list? I'm trying to think. I don't think Tony Parker's on here. I don't think Manu Ginobili's on here. So it's just a question of, why? Where's the discussion for Klay Thompson joining this crew? I just don't see it, in my opinion. And again, maybe I'm totally in the wrong here. I'm sure everyone has different opinions on this matter. But, I mean, to me, it's just such an elite group. And Klay Thompson, like I said, is a Hall of Fame player to me. I don't like the Basketball Hall of Fame. I have no problems with that whatsoever. But to say he belongs in this group of players right now, based on what he's done, despite, and he's missing time too, which it's not a bad thing. It shouldn't hurt his Hall of Fame chances, but it doesn't help them either. I mean, how many years does he have of real basketball years? He's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. 8 years, which were, to his credit, mostly healthy. He was incredibly healthy up until that injury, obviously, that made him miss the past year, and then missing this past year again with the Achilles. So he's got 8 years of healthy play. I mean, that's really good. That's a really good foundation. I have him as a Hall of Fame player after 8 years. But really, to get this 75th anniversary team to pay attention to you, you have to have had such a high ceiling, you have to have had so much historical value, or you had to have just been so productive for so long. I mean, Tracy McGrady, who had a higher peak than Klay Thompson, I don't think that's debatable. Especially considering how much Kobe Bryant respected Tracy McGrady's offensive game, all that kind of stuff. T-Mac not being on this list, despite having the peak he had. Grant Hill not being on this list. Those guys are Hall of Famers. And Klay Thompson will be too eventually. But I don't think Klay Thompson is on par with those guys, in my opinion. So, and I could be wrong about that. Obviously, there are different styles of play, different eras as well. But I just can't buy into it. I mean, most of these guys on this list are guys you would build a franchise around as your core player in some point in time. Most of them. Klay Thompson, I would not build my franchise around. And it's not a shot at Klay. He's just not a tier 1 player in the league. He's not going to be a guy that is going to be the center of your world. You know, when I talk about guys like that, I mean Nikola Jokic. I mean Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean LeBron James, Luka Doncic. I mean Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. These are the guys I'm talking about. These are the guys I can start a franchise with. I cannot start a franchise with Klay Thompson and realistically expect to win a championship without adding a player who's better than him. Unless you have like the deepest team in NBA history. And unless you have some team that's just ridiculously deep and has great chemistry. Maybe you could pull it off then. But, you know, I just don't see it. So, maybe you disagree with me. And if you have a good argument, I'd be willing to hear it. If you have a really good argument for why Klay Thompson should be on this 75th anniversary team, drop it in the comments below. Or go and tell it to me on Twitter. It's at Sam_Teets33. That's SAM_TEETS33. You know, I'd be more than willing to respond and have the debate with anyone who thinks they have a good argument for putting Klay Thompson on this 75th anniversary team. Otherwise, though, my opinion is staying where it is right now. I don't think Klay Thompson deserves to be on the list. I don't know why he's so upset about it, because I don't think it should be shocking that he wasn't on the list. But anyways, that's all for me today, guys. Talk to you all later.